I've been estranged from my family ever since I got married to my husband, so about 4 years. Although our relationship was rocky before that, both of our families have hated each other for a long time, for a reason unrelated to our relationship. And they thought by dating and marrying my husband, I had committed the ultimate betrayal, humiliation, so they disowned me. A few months ago, my sister reached out to beg me to give her money so she could leave her boyfriend. According to her, our family adored him and were refusing to help her as they thought she was making all of the up. She told me she was terrified for her life, and I was her only option. So I helped her. It turns out it was all a massive scam so my family could screw with my husband, in-laws. My husband didn't want to hear about my reasoning behind why I helped. He and his family were so angry at me for falling for it, and he decided he wanted to separate. I stayed in our marital home because I'm pregnant and he moved out. However, he comes and goes from our house as he pleases. It was painful seeing him come over whenever he wanted to, whilst he was cold-shouldering me, and would mostly only speak to me through text, and usually he kept the conversation strictly about the baby. So when my friend offered to let me move into her spare room, I took it. I didn't tell my husband I was moving, and I left the house the day before Christmas Eve. It took my husband until 2 days ago to finally notice I wasn't there anymore. He sent me a text asking me where I was, and I told him I had moved out. He was so furious he finally stopped giving me the cold shoulder and called me to demand I tell him where I was. He said I was being immature and I needed to come back home. When I refused, he told me he would find out where I was anyway, so I should stop being stubborn and just tell him to save us both the trouble. I hung up on him after that. My in-laws sent me a bunch of not-so-nice texts, including one where my cousin pretty much threatened me. And then this morning, my husband sent me 2 texts, one with my friend's address, and a second asking me to come home so we can fix things. I don't know what to do now. I'm angry at him, but I really don't want to be a single parent, especially since I can't see my family ever forgiving me now that I'll always be tied to my husband, in-laws. What do I do? Sorry, but why do you need to come back home if you're separated? Maybe you should remind him of what being separated means. It sounds like you make this legally binding. Get a freaking divorce ASAP and get a formal custody agreement and payment for the child. It's really silly to do this informally. You're either not married or you are. If he wants to stay married, he gets to do the burden of work to reconcile with you. If you don't want to stay married, it doesn't matter what he wants. Just get the divorce. Your life clearly has too much drama. Simplify it. Create some formal paperwork and stop doing this half-hearted dance. As an aside, if I were your husband, I would also be extremely upset if you sent our money to a family member we jointly hate and were very low contact with, without discussing it first. Sending your sister what I presume was a lot of money without discussing it with him was definitely very, very wrong of you. But 2 wrongs don't make a right, and how he tried to control you after with a fake separation is also wrong. Too much bad history together by now. Just make a clean cut, OP. Okay, I'm going to try, and likely fail to keep this short. My brother, let's call him John, and I are the same age. Yeah, we're twins. We have had a very close relationship our entire lives. We are both in our late 20s and had been playing soccer together every weekend. We see each other at parties and get-togethers multiple times a month, etc. I'm married going on 4 years now. My brother has always been something of a serial monogamist, going from one girlfriend to the next, and this time is no different. He started dating a girl, let's call her Katie. Katie seemed nice at first, outgoing and easy to talk to. She came over to some family events and everything seemed to be going fine. But little by little, her facade has been falling apart. Katie comes from a bad family, single mom who was very controlling, to the point that she literally had her fingers in every aspect of Katie's life. The rest of her family was addicted to alcohol, etc. You get the point. This has made Katie very jaded, and she has an intense focus on respect and gets offended very easily. Her mom came from a poor background, and to compensate for that, stressed how important being classy and showing you had money was to Katie. My wife and I aren't like that. We're very successful for our age. Our household income is about $250K per year. We have 4 houses, 3 that we rent out. Essentially, we are where Katie wants to be, and it causes animosity because, quite admittedly, I dress like a slob, have a lot of friends who aren't classy or up to her standards. I live life on my own terms. She has made a couple of rude comments to me over the last couple of months. At a dinner with me and my wife, she made a comment about how she would never let her husband wear such a cheap wedding ring, referring to my ring, which I regularly use as a bottle opener. She also made a comment once at a barbecue at my house that my pants looked shaggy and it looked like I couldn't afford better clothing. I confronted her and my brother about these comments as nicely as possible, and they took very much offense to it. Next, they had been talking about getting engaged for a while. Katie's family was very much against the idea, and my family was tentative about it at best, as they had been dating for well less than a year. They said they understood, got engaged anyway, and then started planning an elaborate wedding. I was going to be the best man until about a week later. They announced to everyone that they had gone to our local courthouse and gotten married, literally by themselves, didn't tell anyone. Well, since then, about 2 months ago, Katie's family has literally disowned her, and my family has been trying to be supportive because of how much we love John. This has led to us going to dinners at their house that we didn't want to, and going out drinking occasionally. The last time we went out, we ended up going to a nightclub with Katie, John, and 2 of Katie's cousins. The whole night, Katie was making my brother hold her drinks, buy her more drinks, or give his credit card to her. John, card, now, and just generally treating him like a friggin' doormat. In general, he also pays for everything, their apartment, vacations, whatever. She also ended up getting in a loud verbal altercation with her cousin at the nightclub that ended with her trying to fight him. Crap like this happens every time we go out with them, and we have no interest in doing it again after that experience. It has been a huge hassle trying to get them out to do anything. They always have an excuse, whether it's Katie's anxiety or lack of money, but if they invite us to something and we decline, Katie gets super offended and blows up at us. I haven't seen my brother without her in months. He never goes to events with our friends anymore, and we don't play soccer at all. I asked him if he wanted to play yesterday, and he informed me that weekdays were for the wife. Well, so apparently are weekends, and every day of his life now. It is also painfully obvious that whenever he is talking with me over text, that she is coaching him on what to say. My brother also asked me a couple days ago if Katie could stay at our place for a week while he was in New Orleans for work, as she did not like being alone. This, to me anyway, was a huge ask. We both have very demanding jobs and responsibilities, and don't just want someone living with us for a week. I was honestly a little floored that John couldn't find an hour to spend with me during the week, but felt it was okay to ask if his wife could live with us for a week. At the end of the day, I just don't know what to do. I want to keep a relationship with my brother, but she's beginning to make that impossible and too difficult. I have a demanding job and manage my own household, the 3 rentals, a dog, etc., and don't have the time or energy for this crap that Katie is pulling. Advice would be greatly appreciated. You tell him no, it is an inconvenient time to have her stay. If he pushes, you say, I hear that she is anxious. Is she in therapy? It's concerning that she can't be alone. You keep inviting him to do things that are just the 2 of you, and when he declines, you say, that's too bad. I miss having one-on-one time with you. You respond to any rude comment she makes with confusion. Why would you say that about my pants? Help me understand. If I didn't know any better, I'd think you were being purposely rude. Let's keep it classy and refrain from insulting each other. If you do get a chance to speak with him alone, you say things like, bro, you know I'll support you no matter what. If you ever need to talk about anything, I'm here. I know the first year of marriage can be hard. If he shares more, you focus less on her as a problem and more on understanding his choice to be with her and to engage in behaviors in the relationship that are concerning. So it sounds like you're doing a lot for her to show her how much you care. What are some of the ways that she shows you that she cares? Or it sounds like there's been a lot of family criticism. Maybe it would help if each of you were speaking to a separate therapist or counselor in order to get a neutral perspective and additional support. Losing her family can't have been easy for her, and supporting her alone can't be easy for you. Sounds like you both could benefit from talking to someone. If he opens up more fully, then you share direct concerns. If she blows up at you for not attending, ask him directly if he is similarly angry, and then invite him to talk to you about it. Over coffee next week. Oh, and you and your partner should respond frankly to comments such as, I would never let my husband do X, Y, and Z, with comments like, oh, I don't try to dictate what my partner wears. Who really cares about things like the cost of a wedding ring? Isn't the health of the marriage more important? I can't even imagine trying to control what a child wears past age 6 or so. Comments like that might give her a chance to reflect and think. She's young, and it's clear she was raised with messed up values. It's not your job to teach her, but if she has any capacity for introspection whatsoever, that may be enlightening for her. When she gets upset, you politely disengage. You set boundaries such as, last time the fighting was miserable. We're happy to come, but if fighting starts, we'll have to duck out. Over Thanksgiving weekend, he and I went and visited my father's side of the family. We discussed with the whole family our wedding details, our plans to send out save the dates that week, and told everyone to expect one in the mail soon. To introduce our characters, Stacy, 50 female, is my father's sister. She has a history of being crazy, causing a lot of family drama. About once a year, she gets drunk and disowns everyone in the family. Anna, 24, is Stacy's daughter, my cousin. She and I grew up together and were extremely close until she married a Marine and became ultra-conservative and moved across the country. We were still on great terms. She is my parents' goddaughter. She inherited the crazy gene. My mother, 55 female, taught kindergarten for 25 years and is now a hospice nurse. She is the sweetest lady, down to earth and accepting, and has never said a bad word about anyone in her life. She grew up in a military household, moving every year with her father, who was in the Army. This is significant. During the gathering, Anna FaceTimed her brother and the phone was passed around. Everyone had a chance to talk to her, including fiancé and me. I also had a long discussion with Stacy about requesting off of work for the weekend of my wedding. The evening ended and we drove home. The next day, my father called me to tell me that night Anna's mother, Stacy, got drunk and began sending my mother horrible Facebook messages. She said that Anna was very upset my mother talked to her at Thanksgiving because my mother had told Anna that she is a horrible military wife at another cousin's wedding over a year ago. My father didn't want to repeat the other things that Stacy said, but said that my mother was devastated, shocked, and confused. She vaguely remembers talking to Anna about being a military wife due to their shared experience, but it wasn't a memorable conversation, and there was nothing hostile about it. Stacy sobered up in the morning but refused to apologize, standing by what she said and claiming she was defending her child. My parents took some time to cool down, and then my father messaged Anna on Facebook, saying that they love her and this is a misunderstanding. My mother grew up in a military household and understands how difficult it is to be in Anna's position. They are her godparents and want to resolve the issue. He asked her to clarify what she believed had happened and what she had told her mother. It's been a week and he hasn't received a response. My family has always been extremely close, and my parents, especially my father, have time and again drilled into my head to never ever cut off family ties, to always try to make peace and work past differences in beliefs, etc. My parents are the no-drama, super chill family members. It came as a huge shock to me when he asked me to refrain from inviting Anna and Stacy until they apologized to my mother. I talked to my fiancé about the situation, and he agrees with my father and believes that even if they do apologize, he would prefer to cut them out altogether because he doesn't want toxic people like that in our life. I should add that both Stacy and Anna are very conservative and have posted things on Facebook before that target my fiancé's demographic. They have always been very nice to him, but we believe they think he is one of the good ones because he makes awesome baklava. I agree that I wouldn't want them at the wedding unless the situation is resolved. However, I'm not sure how to bring this up. They were expecting save the dates in the mail a week ago, and I haven't sent theirs out. They will be figuring this out soon because I'm obviously inviting Stacy's other children, Anna's brothers, 27 males, who do not live at home and are not crazy and dramatic like the women in their family. I have not personally communicated with either Stacy or Anna since Thanksgiving when I had a great conversation with both. I'm guessing they don't realize I know what's going on, since I don't see my parents much and am extremely busy. 80-hour work week and full-time student. I would prefer not to cut ties permanently if possible because we will be seeing them at all the holidays, and I don't want to cause my grandpa distress. He is already dealing with another crazy and hostile daughter, along with being the caretaker for his mid-stage dementia wife. Do I let them know they're not invited or just let them figure it out? Help, please. I've never had family drama before. These women have been nasty to the people you're closest to, specifically your no-drama mama, and generally about people of the same group as your beloved. You may have fond memories of them, but I agree with your fiancé. They sound toxic. Update. My dad heard back from Anna. She completely stands behind everything her mother said and has now added more to it, claiming that we have never supported her marriage because her husband is in the military. She also claims that I was a part of this harassment at the family wedding way back when, and that she is being the bigger person for forgiving us and moving on. If this is moving on, I don't want to see what the alternative is. She also claims that my mother and I, along with another cousin, told her to rot in hell for her political beliefs. I have literally never talked politics with her, and I don't post anything political on Facebook. She then ended with saying that she's taking the higher road and not letting this situation interrupt family relationships and events like my big day, which she apparently thinks she's still attending.